Hi, folks. I'm Adrian Fry. I'm going to see how I go in giving you an overview of AI in 15 minutes. We'll see how we go. Okay, so firstly, I am the director at Accord Analytics. So we provide high-level technical expertise in quantitative solutions, and we have some really cool products, which I'm really proud of. But today I'm going to walk you through AI. Okay, so the first thing is, what is AI? So think of your TV. If your TV could talk, and you were to say to it, TV, what is the best TV show that you've ever shown us? And it wouldn't know how to respond. If it, let's say, could respond and say, oh, I don't show TV shows. And you're like, no, you do. I sit down in front of you every night and you give me like the best TV shows. Which one's the best? It's like, no. What I do is I am excellent at changing the colors very quickly of 1 billion tiny pixels. There's no one better than me. I don't know what you mean about stories. I know about colors and pixels. See, what a TV actually does is produce the sound of a recording and display the images that rapidly change, right, at like 100 times a second or something like that. It doesn't actually show a TV show. It just knows how to change colors very quickly. Now, the human sits in front of a TV and we get an immersive story. But the TV itself, all it's doing is changing the colors. And what I'm going to tell you, AI itself doesn't know that it's giving you information that you find useful. It just knows it's doing maths. So the same way a TV, if you could ask it, wouldn't know what a TV show is, but it's like, I know the heck out of TV, out of colors and changing pixels quickly, but doesn't actually know about TV shows. And AI systems do not understand they're giving you useful information. As far as it knows, it's just doing maths at the greatest scale it's ever been done. Yeah, so both TV and AI operate based on underlying mechanisms that produce outputs without understanding them. A TV is a story machine that doesn't know it's producing stories. Yeah. AI generates outputs based on statistical patterns of data it doesn't understand in a way humans do. It does not form thoughts, intentions, or awareness of meaning. It merely predicts likely responses based on its training data. Both systems are highly effective at producing outputs that humans find meaningful, but they themselves remain completely unaware of the content and meaning they generate. Okay, so I'm going to give you a very quick example of how a mathematical system can produce a decision or something which appears to be useful. Okay, so this is called logistic regression. In it, we need three things. We need a desired output, which is a yes or a no, an understanding of the problem, which is actually this orange line, an input, so something about the input, which is on the x-axis, and a random number generator. And all that combined will give us something useful. Okay, so firstly, we know there's a relationship between the probability of getting promoted and how long you've worked, your work experience, how long you've been in your job. So the longer you've been in your job, the more likely you are to get promoted. So all you do is you ask the AI, am I likely to get promoted? It might say, well, how long have you worked in your job? And you say, well, I've worked in my job for 2 years. And so all it does is then produces a random number generator. And if the random number generator is greater than, let's say, 0.01, so 90% chance, the random number generator produces a number, let's say it produces 0.49, so about here. It goes, boom, oh, that corresponds to no. Let's say you ask the same question, and this time you reply, no, I've worked at my job for 8 years. Oh, okay, well, we know this is the chart. Here's 8 years. Run a random number generator, and it says 0.7. And he goes, about here. And it goes, oh, yes, you are likely to get promoted. So different people can access the same, can have the same problem, and all it has is some knowledge of the relationship between work experience and probability of getting promoted, and this is able to produce an output that looks quite intelligent. So you have 100 people using this, and because based on the probabilities, there's likely to be quite appear as this system has knowledge, but all it's done is produce a random number on a base. So someone's given it a relationship, this orange bit, and then all it needs now is to know how long you've worked, and a random number generator is able to produce you a result. And this is a miniaturized version of what AI does. So all it's done is gone, input 8, run the random number generator, and most of the time, at 8 years' work, it's going to give the output that says you're likely to get promoted, and some of the time it'll say you're not likely to get promoted. And that generally, if 100 people use this thing, 80, 90% of them go, this is actually has quite a high level of understanding. But it actually doesn't. It's just a mathematical construct and a random number generator. So this is, a small version of what AI is. This is how you can get an output that looks meaningful from just some maths and a random number generator. So the next thing is AI as a physical system. Here is one bit of what AI is. Okay, this is a physical bit. So this is what they're called Project Stargate. It's in Abilene, Texas, and it's between a partnership between Microsoft and OpenAI. And there's about $100 billion are being invested into here. So it's 280 hectares. It's going to have a total energy usage of 5 gigawatts, which is twice the total amount of energy Western Australia uses. It's going to be powered by gas and coal, some on-site nuclear, and some wind and solar. But mostly, look, it's going to be, this is more than half of it is going to be essentially baseload power. And in it, there's going to be about 2 million GPUs. And each GPU is like, so you think of, everyone knows what a CPU is, like a thing that runs your computer. So think of like a CPU as being a really excellent office manager. Well, a GPU is a maths nerd. So the office manager can do, like, sometimes you can run Excel, can do like 10,000 different tasks and do them like quickly and swap and do lots of different things. Whereas the maths nerd is just like sitting at his computer, just typing out code. A GPU is essentially a maths computer brain. It's all designed around doing maths. So there will be about 2 million of them. And what this site is going to do is build and run frontier AI models, which means the next brains, AI brains. So AI doesn't sit, you can't sit on your computer. There's only like a couple dozen places in the world that can actually host an AI, let alone develop one. And this is what it looks, because people don't understand where the AI is. There's only like a handful of places in the world that can actually, have enough processing power to make them. And this is what one looks like. Okay, so there's 4 bits to how AI thinks. The first is its knowledge base, how it knows stuff. So think of this like your library, the total or the huge database. In fact, it has so much stuff. It has like all of university university researchers in these things. They're even putting all of the copyrighted materials that have ever existed into them. They've put all of Wikipedia, all of Reddit, all of Google searches, all of everything that essentially that could be put, books. They've got systems that just physically scan books and dump it into AI. So the knowledge set of these things, it has high school essays in it. It has, this is a knowledge base. It's like the greatest repository of knowledge that's ever existed by like a factor of 10,000. It is like utterly amazing how big these knowledge sets are. So then it has, the next bit is the GPT, the unique brain. This is the reasoning engine that turns knowledge into understanding. This is like the mind that interprets the information that it has. And the next is the prompt. This is the thing you type in. This is what it's trying to solve. This is like the problem that you're giving it. And the fourth bit is the information in the thread, the prior information you have. This is like the high priority knowledge or job specific information. So think of like a builder that goes to a site. He has all of his knowledge about how to build things, houses, sheds, whatever. But this is like the custom specs, not just the problem, we need to build a house, but actually this is the signed off plans that the council that the client's given me. So like the really high priority working knowledge. He's not tasked. Yes, he's tasked with building a house. He knows how to build houses, but this is like the specific bit. So this is what we call high priority knowledge. So when you type something into AI and you produce this whole nice thread, the stuff about. So when you go next to asking another question, it's using your stuff that you've conversed with it before as its critical way of understanding the problem. It's like its immediate context. So they're the 4 bits. AI has huge advantages over humans. So firstly, human systems. So think about, in economics, you refer to this as utility. So imagine if you had, you're opening McDonald's and you decide to hire 200 workers. So they literally all can't fit in the building. The total amount of burgers you can produce if you hire 200 staff is essentially zero, because you literally can't even have enough space to move the chips into the fryer, right? Humans are actually very bad at scaling. We're pretty good on our own and good in small teams, but this is like the problem of bureaucracy. Once you add 200 people to an organization, then you have to have like teams, and you find actually accidentally teams are working on the same problem. Like humans do not scale well at all. Like in small teams, probably the best. But AI systems, we have not found, like you add one AI bot to another AI bot and the actual total utility perpetually increases. And we have not found a point at which you can add another helpful AI bot in and its advantage isn't more than the previous one. So its advantage goes like this rather than going like, so it goes upwards rather than dropping like that, which is, if you understand the problem of scalability, this is utterly remarkable. This is why armies want to build their soldiers with robots, because actually the more you add, the more effective the whole thing becomes rather than less effective. So it completely transforms how the solving of big problems, such as a war or something like that. Okay, output to input cost. Think about just the pure energies required to build a analyst. So I'm an analyst, so it takes 10 to 15 years. The amount of energy, the food I've had to ingest, the fuel I've had to use to drive me around is probably 250 to 350 gigajoules of energy, and it's taken 10 to 15 years. One AI, to build an analyst in AI, is take 2 to 3 months. So it will require a lot of energy, but it's essentially per analyst. Once you build one, divide it over the total amount of analysts you get, it's about 0.00003 gigajoules. So it's 99.9999 less energy to get the same thing. And you've compressed it from 10 to 15 years. So you got high school, university, and 5 years out of university to get an actual like quality analyst. It's 2 to 3 months. So AI learns in months, consumes less energy, and replicates at near zero cost. Human learning is measured in decades and gigajoules. Like if you have a problem, it's essentially AI minds are already out-competing humans. Integrated analysis. AI has huge advantages over teams. So think of a drone swarm, a human drone swarm. So everyone's at a drone trying to fly and trying to like get information. So that information is going to dozens of pilots and analysts and commanders and structures and stuff. And it's like someone discovers something, there's a huge time latency in communicating that to the other people so that they know about it. Whereas literally an AI coordinated drone swarm, it's got one mind, is operating all these things simultaneously. So not only is it more scalable, but actually all the information sits in one hive mind. So you could literally, rather than having rather than having one person trying to do something and then adding more and more people, which all like are somewhat efficient, and then there's time trying to communicate information together. AI, all the information is known essentially immediately. So decisions once requiring full operations teams now emerge from a single cohesive agent, faster, unified, and self-synchronizing. For humans, so those other bits we looked at are a part of what makes humans humans and what makes AI. But the really interesting bit is that AI is an anti-bias fluid perspective machine. So humans anchor truth to identity and belonging, filter reality through in-groups, tribes, and culture, mistake agreement for understanding, and drift towards bias and groupthink over time. AI decouples identity from analysis, simulates any worldview or ideology, understands people in their own terms, and triangulates across biases to approach objective reality. So what I mean, so I really don't understand why, what's a good example? Why, it's something very different to me. Why did Martin Luther King Jr. do what he did in America? Like, I understand bits of it through reading, but I don't really understand, right? Because I don't know what it's like to have his lived experience. I can try and put myself in his mind to some degree, but not really. In fact, if I had a time machine and go back in time and I was to ask him 50 questions about what he thinks about things, and then take the answer without looking at them, and I was trying to figure out his answers, AI understanding the huge amount of information and tasks of that job is extremely is going to beat me every day. In fact, if I think about the whole world, right, so there's 7-8 billion people, there's 12 people I know extremely well, like my family and close friends, where I'll always be able to beat AI if we're both asked to try and figure out what that person's answer to a survey is. Like, I'll always be able to beat them because I know how they tick. And there's 150 people for which I will always have some advantage. So like my acquaintances, where I know something particular about them might help me. But for the rest of the 7-8 billion people in the world, AI is going to beat me in understanding their perspective. It's just what I mean by fluid perspective. It's able to 80% accuracy, be able to model any person's ideology or understand any person in their own terms. Way better. It's one of the terrible disadvantage of humans, why we're so tribal, is we actually can't understand the other person's perspective. Even though we think we can, we actually really can't. Objectively, if you literally get them to person to write a survey, human me to try and replicate, figure out what their answers are, and get AI to do it, you realize objectively how poor we are at it. But this AI is a fluid perspective machine. And it's like, this is the greatest advantage for churches, is trying to, so if you're pastoring people, you have to try and understand someone else. Actually, AI is already better at that than you are. You can literally enter as much information you know about them and then try and get AI to understand them and then tell you about them, right? That is way better than you trying to go, oh, I understand their perspective. The reality is you don't. And this is like the fundamental advantage AI has over humans, is it's able to simulate any worldview or ideology more accurately than you can. Understands people in their own terms. So it's essentially, it doesn't have a perspective of itself. It just takes that knowledge and goes, like, historians are using it to try and figure out, why did some of the world's worst people that have ever existed do the things they do? Because you just figure out what books they read, what things, and then essentially you build a mind and you can interrogate, you can ask it questions and go, oh, this is why that thing happened, in a way that we've never been able to do before. Because our own minds are trained on our own beliefs, right? Think about the training process you've had. That is not universal. Everyone didn't have the same training thing, have the same knowledge, have the same cultural background, where AI essentially has no cultural background. So it's able to just take the information. Oh, this is why this person did this horrendous thing, and like it's actually really, really powerful in solving the problem of perspective. Okay, so there's how much more? We've got 5 minutes. Okay. What can we do? Okay, so about AI generally, there's like 4 tiers of AI. Let's open up through. Okay, so think about the quality of response you get in terms of distribution, normal distribution. If you're using a free AI model, so the quality increases that way. Quality increases, goes up as you move along here. If you're using a free model, you're getting about here. They don't give them the whole access to the knowledge base, and they underpower them. If you're paying for a model, you're probably getting about here somewhere. So as soon as you're willing to pay $20 a month, like the quality of the thing rapidly and as soon as you're willing to start building a GPT, then it really then it moves. So your GPT, then it moves like down to here. So like the top couple of percent. So think about a lawyer or a person doing law school. The free AI may not pass law school. If you pay for an AI and just prompt that, you'll get like Bs. But if you build a custom mind, which you can do in OpenAI, then you'll get like in the top 2%. So that's essentially how the more you're willing to either pay for it and then start to build custom minds to custom problems, that's the quality of the output you're going to get. Like this level is already better than what I could hire. Like I have some jobs where I don't even bother hiring people. I just build a custom mind because it delivers me market by just hiring someone to do it. It is, if you understand how to use GPTs, and one day we'll maybe take you through that. But anyway, so this is my AI overview of what it is, how it works, and briefly how you should use it. My email is here. I'll find it again. If you have any questions, email me at adrian@accordanalytics.com, and I'm very happy to take your questions and help you out. Okay.